You may remember the Kahala Foundation from last year's GWP Summit when you brought home a bag of coffee beans. Fun fact, did you know the Kahala Foundation was started by 3 Genentech employees? Davide Ravazzoni, Carol Zoner, and Angie Numnuck. Here today to tell us what a bag of coffee has to do with giving back is our very own Angie. At Genentech, Angie is the Senior Director for Business Management and Communications in GRED. She is a strategic thought partner and a mentor. At home, she is the mother to 2 teenagers, a youth sports coach, and a community advocate for education. To the women of Tanzania, she is an unknown ally using her skills to help these women find a better future and health. Giving back is who Angie is. It's in her DNA. Please join me in welcoming her to the stage. All right. Thank you for that, Francesca. I am so excited to be here today to talk to you about Kahawa. I think it's perfect that it's under this theme of You Matter, because so many of you started this journey with us. You've been supporting us. So today, I'm going to give some background. I'm going to share with you some of the things that we've been up to and show you what we've been able to do with your help. Okay? I think each of you has a bag of coffee in your bag. Could you pull that out in your giveaway? So kahawa means coffee in Swahili. I want you to hold this. You can feel it, it's real. You can smell it. This is a really good blend of coffee, by the way. It's not low bar, it's good. You can smell it. You can hug it. You can give it a little kiss on the head. Oh wait, sorry, sometimes I think of it as my baby. That's confusing. But the reason I wanted you to bring it out is because I actually started this with 2 friends, Davide Razzavoni from procurement and Carol Zoner from HR, and they couldn't be here today. And I'm wondering if you would help me out. If you could hold up your bags, we're gonna change the lights here, and I'd like to take a picture to show them. You guys, can we change the lights here so we can see? Okay, and of course, we do it selfie style too, right? And so, everybody smile, kahawa. All right, thank you for that. Full disclosure, that might also be for my mom. Okay, so I'm gonna get started here. If I'm walking around at lunchtime and can't find my phone, can somebody tell me where it is? Okay, so we buy coffee from Tanzania, we bring it here to the US, we sell it on campus, and we use the funds to do projects related to cervical cancer in Tanzania. So you may have some questions, like, what? Cervical cancer? Tanzania? Okay, so we put together a video to give you a sense of what we do and what's inspired our mission. And before that we start this, I want to thank our communications officer, Melissa McLean, who probably going to be in trouble for this. She's at her desk live streaming this, but thank you for putting this together for us. So can we go ahead and play the video? So let me just make sure this is crystal clear. We bring coffee from Tanzania. We sell it here. Many of you have bought this. GWP has supported us. And we're just about to open a clinic in rural Tanzania that is going to help women fight the deadliest cancer in Tanzania. I want to especially thank Veronica McBride. I don't know if you were able to come today. She was our champion last year for bringing coffee here to GWP, and Francesca Lamb for our champion this year. 2 years in a row, the planning committees have agreed to bring this as the giveaway here, and we could not have done things like this without your support, so thank you. NGEA is a very special program. It is run by our global human resources group. It's a leadership development program that's 1 week long, and the insights that I gained about my strengths, a handful of opportunities, were insightful and relevant, and I feel so grateful to have gotten to go through that program. I highly recommend it. Talk to your HR business partner if you want to know more about it. But I also want to thank Sarah. You're here somewhere. Where are you, Sarah? My manager who supported me going in this program. If we don't have leaders, managers who are pushing along our development, it's really tough. But when you have champions who are supporting you, it's really great. So thank you for that support. The program was a week long and fantastic. Again, it was related to leadership development. But when I returned, I did a lot of reflecting. It's one thing to see the developing world in pictures and on the internet. It's a completely different thing to be there and to meet the people and see the women and the children playing and the clinics where healthcare is administered and what that's like. 17,000 children lose their mother. It was just mind-boggling to me. So when I returned home, there was this question of like, okay, did this program, am I going to keep going with this? And I thought about a lot of things. I looked inward with so much gratitude for the time and place I was born, the resources and opportunities that I've had. You know, the luck of the birth lottery is not lost on me, right? None of us do anything to choose or earn where we're born. I was born here. And could I really just walk away and do nothing more? And during this time, there's a quote that I love that kept coming to me. It's by Rumi. And the quote was, "There's a voice that doesn't use words. Listen." And I knew that for me, at this point in my life, I needed to keep going. And so Davide and Carol had also gone through this reflection and said, we're not quite ready to be done. We want to figure out what else we can be doing to help. And of course, there are ideas you saw in the video that, it really came up because the magic of NGEA is that you bring Roche business leaders together with local Tanzanian healthcare officials, doctors, and nurses, and they work together. They do leadership development, and they think about how to solve cervical cancer in Tanzania. And there are so many great ideas, and the secret is that the Tanzanians take hold of these ideas, and they're the ones that carry them forward. That's what makes it sustainable. But the issue that constantly was coming up was funding. And we were literally in our Jeeps, driving on red dirt roads, passing banana plantations, coffee plantations, and somebody just said, well, wouldn't it be great if we could just take all this coffee, sell it in the US and bring it back and use that money to fund our projects? And so as a group, we kind of noodled on it, and that's what we decided to start working on when we got back. And what I love about this idea is that we're taking a product from the developing world, we're giving access to the US market, and all of the profits are going back into the communities where the product was born. So we're supporting farmers, we're stimulating the local economy because those are the people that are hired to build the buildings that we've built. And it's just a really great cycle, and we're so excited about all the support we've had. Kahawa is a great example of how the skills we learn as business leaders are transferable. When we started this, I knew nothing about selling coffee. I knew nothing about starting a foundation. I couldn't imagine how you would get green coffee beans from the spring harvest in Tanzania to the shelves of the Genentech Grab and Go, let alone how to drive a healthcare facility, the construction, on the other side of the world. We knew none of this. But we did know a few things. We knew the importance of a really well-defined vision and mission. We knew the importance of being curious and collaboration, prioritization and decision-making, great project management, resilience, and so many other things that we hone as business leaders. Those are the things that really carried us. But we also needed a lot of help. And there were many times that I wasn't sure this was the right thing for me to be doing. I have 2 kids, I have a full-time job, it's a lot. So starting a foundation sounded really hard, but reaching out and getting help, we got help from people like Marcus Gamun, who's the head of Roche Africa. He has his own foundation, he builds schools in Rwanda. So we were able to pick his brain and get some advice how to do it. We got help from people like Malte Schultz, who was in cohort 1 with us. He was actually part of the team that did the root cause analysis that showed we needed more capacity in that village in order to make a difference. When he came back, he helped us with fundraising, he advocated for us. How could we let him down? We were in this together. And people like Steffi Mitchell, who is the program manager for NGEA, started this thing. She's inspired so many of us on our leadership journey. This program is so popular, they are expanding it to Uganda and India in the coming years. It's just phenomenal, and she deserves so much credit for that. And all of this, when you think about it, it's just amazing what shows up when you ask for help. I'm going to tell you that 3 years ago, I never would have imagined that I was going to work with a director from procurement and HR to start a foundation that sold coffee and built a healthcare clinic. But this is the story of the 3 of us being inspired, making a decision, taking action, and chipping away until we figured it out. So that's the Kahawa story, but I have another story for you, and I included in this because something happened as I was preparing for this talk, and I just felt it was so important to put this also under the theme of You Matter. It's just so relevant. So it goes like this. I was in Basel in February. It was a typical work week, and maybe if you're like me, you understand how this feels. I get jet lag when I'm there. So you can imagine on Wednesday when I woke up, you wake up at 2, you've had 2 sleepless nights, you're exhausted, the dark circles are basically becoming permanent, and you're kind of holding it together with mascara and caffeine. That morning, my meetings were on the other side of town at the location that's near the Basel train station. It's a smaller site. So I get out the door, kind of dragging, but I walk across town. And as I'm getting close to the building, I realize I'm just barely going to be on time. We're good. The last block is this little bridge that you cross over the train tracks that go into the train station. And as I crossed that bridge, this young woman approached me. And she was just a little bit off, and I'm such an American. She put me off on guard. She started talking to me. And in very broken English and a shaky voice, she asked me if I knew how to if there was any other way to get to the other side. And I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of doing one of these, I'm a little late. It's like, I don't know. But she keeps talking to me. And what I said is, I'm just not from here. I was trying to be polite. She keeps talking. She follows me a little bit and says, it's just that since I was a kid, I don't like crossing bridges. They make me nervous. The height, they shake. They're kind of loud. And I was like, and I can hear the stress in her voice. And in that moment, I had to make a choice, right? It was like, I've got my priorities, but there she was. And I don't know what made me stop, but I did. And I said, okay, I just walked across that. It's okay. Why don't you take my arm and I'll walk with you. We'll be fine. I'll get you there. Okay, she was a little surprised. I don't think she expected that. But a little reluctant, but she took my arm and we started walking. And as we walked, she kept talking about her fears, and I just realized I needed to distract her with small talk. And we get to the other side. We're fine. And I'm kind of like saying goodbye and say, I hope you're okay. You know, I hope that was all right. She turns to me, and I can still see it. So she thanks me. And this look in her eye of gratitude and relief was way more than I expected. It was such a small thing. It wasn't a big deal, but it was a big deal to her. You've all had moments like this, right? It's a nice story. It feels good to help people, right? And I'm looking out, I know many of you would stop too, wouldn't you? You would find a way to help this person if you could. Yes. The reason I wanted to tell this story is not because the act was all that great. It was because I almost missed it. So I was so focused on where I was going and what I needed to do that I almost missed this really small thing that I could do that meant a lot to somebody. We live our lives at such a fast pace, back-to-back meetings, trying to keep up with email, balancing work and life. It's rough. We've all been there. And I think the most heroic act in this was not walking across the bridge. It was just stopping and being present for somebody when they're showing some vulnerability and needing some help, and giving some space to that. I think I would also offer that perhaps the most heroic part of this story has nothing to do with me. That it was this woman. It was this young woman who found herself uncertain, a little afraid, needing some help, who was willing to express that and be vulnerable, even to a stranger. I wonder how easy it is for us to be vulnerable. I know I struggle with it. I think sometimes I feel like we're supposed to walk around with our superhero capes on, right? Got it all covered, we've got the answer. It almost feels like we'll be judged if we show that we don't know all the answers. Maybe you felt that way too. What would it be like if we were all just a little bit more comfortable asking for help? If we all provided that space for other people to ask for help? And a network is connected, and it's strong under pressure. What would that be like if we were just a little bit better at that? Now, I've told you two stories today. And they're kind of bookends, right? One, like the big thing, Kahala, something about acts of kindness and being present for each other. And there's a reason I really wanted to tell both of those stories. And here's what it is. So we live in this world where through media, through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, even the front page of Gee Whiz, we see the best moments in life all the time flashing in front of us. It's the highlight reel, the top 5%. And I love that stuff, right? I show up with my friends, my family. I love celebrating that. But sometimes it feels like if all we ever talk about is that top 5%, I don't know about you, but there are days I start to feel pretty inadequate if that's all I'm looking at. And I would say, like, it's so important for us to make sure we see the entire picture. There's a whole lot of good going on in the middle of the bell curve of life. And it's sacred, and it's important, and it drives the culture for where we live. And we should also value and tell those stories, even when they just feel small. They're good. So our culture is built, it's shaped based on the individual acts of all of us, big or small. They impact it. And so what I want you to take from my talk today is there's so much talent in this room, and I know we're giving back in so many ways. We should share all of those stories. We should talk to each other. We should just, what are we doing? And let's celebrate that. But if you're somebody who has always felt like, you know, I want to do more, but I don't know if I have the skills, or think of Kahawa. We knew nothing. You have just as many skills as we did when we started. You can figure out whatever you want to be involved in. You can do that. Don't hold back. Don't sell yourself short. If you're at a place in your life where maybe symbolically you're kind of jet lagged and holding it together with mascara and caffeine, no, that's good too. And there's a lot of magic that happens in your day-to-day life. And celebrate that, be good with it, honor it. It's all good. Our culture is built on the individual acts of all of us, big and small. It all matters. You matter. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Give Back segment leader, Kavita Patel.
Wow. Don't underestimate the value of each action we take, big or small. These are very powerful words, a message that Angie just said to all of us. This truly resonates with me. I'm sure you all have words like these, whether you've read them in a magazine, saw them online, or you heard them from a colleague. These words inspired you. What if we could bring these words to life? What if we can make them last? So what I'm going to ask of you now is to think about these words, and using the pieces of paper at your table, jot them down